Hello and welcome to part 2 of module 4, where the main objective would be to talk about the data types and other things in detail, and also see how marketing data can be transformed. So we saw one of the examples for finance data. Now we will see marketing data. So just to recap, in our last module, last section, we talked about the null value, how to use data quality features and rules to talk with the null value issues. And then we saw that how do we use value replacement features. So now in part 2, we will be talking about the transformation and through a different type of activity that we are going to see. What are the activities over there? So when we talk about the joins primarily, so there are, that brings us to the concept of joining the entities together. So for that, we need to first of all have to understand entities. So what is entity? How is the data structure looking like, right? So let's move on to the session notes, and let me give you some understanding. We are just using it in a virtual space, that okay, if I would have been in a classroom, so I would have scribbled on a board or a whiteboard. So now it is virtual, but still we have a lot of scope and lot of possibilities. Learning should not stop. So that's the key point. For that, whatever we need to do, we will do. We will make you understand each and every small sections of the topics so that you don't miss on. And the main idea would be talking from the business perspective. Business data. We are not talking about anything that is apart from. So it is not like a simple XYZ classroom or some sample data, XYZ something, consider Rohan, Mohan. We don't do like that. We are directly talking in terms of the business data, business pain points that you face, because the purpose of this kind of sessions is to target business, right? So first of all, we need to understand how businesses store their data, how businesses move their data from one place. So how the data structure looks like. So first of all, at the top, so we need to understand how the data pipeline works, maybe first of all. So we talk about data pipeline, and ETL plays an important role over here, right? So suppose we have to move some data from point A to point B. So point A to point B. So how does this entire pipeline works? What are the techniques that we use actually? So we must have heard, in terms of databases, we must have heard about something called incremental refresh. Right, so what happens over there, we will see. There is something called log shipping techniques, right? And there is, when we talk about the pipeline, we have some components that we need to keep in mind. So what are these components? So the first thing would be that we need to see how is my, the data domain. First of all, we need to understand. Then we will see the subdomain. Then we talk about the data table or the data set. Then we talk about the attributes, and then finally we have the data terms, and then we have the processes. We have the KPIs. So these are some of the terms that we need to define properly when we are talking about preparing the data and using this data for any kind of modeling or visualization, right? So first of all, we need to understand that everything in a business data environment is a term. So everything is a term, and it has to align itself either to some process, right, or some metric. So this KPI is nothing but a metric. So key performance indicators, what we call it. So every data term that we see either will go to a process or it will go to a metric like this. Now these data terms actually, we have the significant terms that we place. If you place it in a data set or something, we call them as the attributes of the data. So attributes, and then they combine to become the subdomain or the data set. And then finally we have the data domain, which is the higher part of it. So in terms of a physical setup of a data warehouse, you might say, so we have first of all, the database, the server, first of all. So the first comes the server, and inside the server we have different schema. Inside schema we have a database. Inside database we have table. Inside table we have rows, and then rows has got the data terms or data items, whatever we call it. Here what we need to do is we need to understand that whenever we are transporting data from one place to another, how do we transport? We consider, definitely we have to consider table by table and row by row, record by record. We need to see that. So here what happens is, most of the cases we identify that, okay, we have tables which needs to be moved from one schema or one database to another every day, every minute possibly, or there could be some tables or rows which we need to move once in, let's say, few days or few months or something like this. So remember we talked about the 4 V's in the previous modules. So there the volume and the velocity, so all these things is the determinant of considering what kind of movement the data pipeline should have. So let's take an example. I'll just we will take some example in terms of the same database that we saw over here. So if you look at this our database that we brought in, from our perspective, from our any data understanding perspective, we know that, okay, so we have this data source, which is, let's say we have the orders. So let's take these examples. We have orders, so we open orders, and we have order details. So this is order details. What does order detail has? If you just look at how many data lines we have over here. So what we can do is we can select. So we can just we comment this and we simply say count 1 and just let's execute. So we can see that there are 2155 records. So, and this particular record, if you just look at the orders table, this is getting recorded every minute or every day or something like this, right? So lots and lots of data we have got. Now contradictory statement I have to make over here. If we go to the categorical data, so if you go to this categorical data, so this is defined one time. So suppose we have 8 categories talking about beverages, condiments, confections. Now a business will not have categories every day. So every day new categories are coming up. It might not be the case. So what you are doing over here is you are identifying that one part is a kind of data which is getting updated every day, and one is the kind of data which is updating very, it's slowly. We call it as a slow moving dimension. So first of all, we need to understand the dimensions and the fact. So right now, these categorical data form the part of the attribute that we were talking about. And if you talk about this orders, so they are a part of the fact. Fact means these are like transactional kind of data, right? So which is a part of your data store. So transactional data. And then we have the categorical data sort of things. Most often we have seen that if it is a transactional data, this has to be moved either as and when the transaction happens, or let's say in a very frequent basis, maybe a daily, twice a day, once a day, something like this, that needs to be done. So what happens is when you prepare your data pipeline, we have to have categories. So there are some solutions, some ETL jobs that will run every day, and there will be some ETL jobs that will run once in a week or once in a month. So let's say the categorical data ETL can run once in a week or month, something like this. So I'm giving you an understanding from the data preparation perspective. How do you prepare? Because the data that we are going to work on will not be a direct data. It might come from a source of, let's say, it might be a primary source. It might be a direct data store from a store, let's say. From there, we do the log shipping or any kind of incremental refresh data, understanding. And then we eventually move to the concepts of managing the data from a warehouse perspective, actually. So what you see is the beginning of that section. So anyways, we get into the data sets, and we see that, okay, there are different types of schemas, different types of models that we prepare, and we need to have the appropriate joins among them. So this can be done definitely using the relationships. It can be done using the Power Query itself, what we have seen, and then it can be done using the DAX also. So all these three plays an important role from the data perspective. Now, whatever we are moving from point A to point B, attributes play an important role. So attributes are associated with data types also. Each and every attribute within the data will have some kind of data types. So let's understand the essential data types that are available in Power BI and how to actually identify and, let's say, evaluate these data types, whether they are in a correct place or correct position or something like this. Let's have an understanding of that. So Power BI data types are something like this. So we have text, we have numerical. So the major section would be the numerical data types, which will form a part of, let's say, the decimal number, fixed decimal number, whole number. These are all the number data types. Then we have the date and time, so which has got date, time, time zone, duration, stuff like this. Then we have the text. So text does not support any kind of calculations, as we understand. And then we have the Boolean data types, actually, so wherein we have true or false data. And then we have something called blank or null data types as well. So in Power BI, it is possible that my data item, my column, my cell might not have any kind of data inside it, right? So it will be treated as a null value. So how do we evaluate and transform these data types? So we need to have a clear understanding. The idea is that, first of all, we need to identify and understand whether the data type is the correct one for our source. So we need to see the numeric data type. So basically the fixed decimal. Let's have a look at all these data types one by one. So what we will do is, we will now go towards the section wherein we have got this particular trial balance data. So this is the Power BI that we just prepared for the trial balance data, and we'll see end to end how the data types over there looks like. So now we will see it in a different perspective, different view. So we go back to our transform data section, and we see that one of them is identified as date and one of them is identified as a decimal. So now we can see this is a decimal number, and this one has got the date, and then the descriptions are in the text format. So text cannot do any calculations over here. So there might be some cases wherein you might have to move this date into a text format or something. So there are options from where you can update this over here as well. So these are the major systems that we follow. When we bring the data into our Power BI house, I mean the section where the Power BI is working actually, so there you will not find any option directly. So you will, if you click on this column, then only you will be able to see what kind of data type it is. And then if your data type corresponds to something, then what you can do is you can see some options over here which will say categorized or uncategorized or something like this. So suppose if you have some geographical data, let's say city or state and all, so you will see that it can be categorized as a different type of data. So that these are the options from the columns perspective, so the data types perspective. Then we have the date time, and then we have the true false type. Text data, text can take a big amount of information within a particular cell. So you can see that there's a maximum limit of a string that's in several bytes actually. And then we have the blank or the null type. So these data types apply to different transformation and table structures also. Now what we are going to do is we will move towards an understanding of an activity wherein we will be transforming some marketing data through a flat file. So let's have a look at the marketing data first of all, how the marketing data looks like. So marketing data is in general folder, and here we have the marketing data, which is a CSV file like this, and we will do the preparation of this particular data from the marketing perspective. This is a CSV file, as you can see. It's a flat file, so which means that the data doesn't relate to multiple places actually. So we go to get data and we go to this option called text CSV, and we go to our data sources, general, and we see marketing data and we say open. So unlike the previous file which was related to IBM's attrition data, so this one you can see that it is already structured. So what we can do is we have a choice. We can directly go to load and then transform, or directly you can click on the load, or directly you can click on transform as well. So it is getting loaded because we can see that at a first glance the data looks clean. So that's the major task. So it is almost around 5 MB of data that is getting loaded over here. And if you have a look at this particular data, so you will see variation of data that is available over here. So first thing first, what we are going to do is we are going to categorize this data and see what are the kind of options that are possible. So what we do is we go to home and then we go to this option called transform data. So transform data, actually what it does is it actually takes you to a stage where you can do all the changes and updates right in the data. So let's say we have the age group, we have the job and salary, so all these things. So first of all, you can see that the age, it has been captured as a numeric data, which is absolutely fine. Then we have got the age group, which is also in a numeric data. Job, which is in a text data. Salary, it has been captured as a numeric data. Marital status is considered like this in a text data, definitely. Followed by education, and then you can see that there is another column called marital education. So we have marital hyphen education. So now we have to understand that we really whether we need this column or not, because we already have segregated marital and education two columns over here. So what we can do is we can right click and say remove. Targeted is actually, you can see it as a true yes and no field, and it is looking like a ABC. So usually what happens is, if you have just yes and no, these kind of columns are there, it is always better to convert it into a true false, so that it will just take one bit. Here it is taking bytes, right? So targeted, so you can simply say true and false. So how will you do it? You can either right click over here and say yes. So all the yes should move to true like this, and all the no should go to false. The moment it happens like true and false, what we can do is we can try and convert this into a true false section. So automatically what happens is it takes it to different distinctions, true false. So it is always better to have data in true false manner rather than yes and no. So default, whether they have defaulted any kind of loans or something in the past, so that data is here. Same, what you can do is you can just say replace value, and no means false, and yes means true. Same over here, we convert this into true false. Such options are there, and there is no as such instant method. We have to do it one by one over here. So we just go over here, replace values, and say this as true. If you do any mistake in the naming convention, then it will be a problem. So it has to say like this, true and false, and then you say okay, convert this into true false. We won't be able to do it at a stretch like this, so we have to take it one by one. But you can see that it's a very quick process, and almost we are done with these things. Now if you see, if you go to campaign, so campaign, that's a numeric value, so we don't know whether it was a campaign code or whether it's a first campaign, second campaign or something. We don't have an idea about that. What campaign are we talking about? Then we have the date and the month. So day and month is creating a problem, because you will not be able to transform this into a date, because date is different and month is different over here. Right. So let's go one by one, and we check the other ones also, previous and outcome, so which is unknown, it's of no use. So let's say P outcome, we don't require this, we can simply say remove. Then comes the response, so you can see response as 0 and 1, so we can keep it as 0 and 1, and we will just try this to convert it into true and false, and it automatically changed. So you can see there is true and false as well. So here you can see true and false both are there. Same goes with so in previous we have only 0, so there is nothing as such in previous. But what we can do is two things we will be doing back to back. So one will be the day and the month. We will see how to convert this, and then what we will do is we will have a particular campaign related details, put it into a separate table, and then we will see how to merge these two. Very important. So here what we need to do is we need to merge these two, and 5th and May. So you can see the date is there and the month is there. So 3rd, 4th and 5th, 3 days are there. But then what you need to do is you need to convert it into a date format. So what we need to do is we will just say that we need to add a column over here. So this will be a part of the DAX statements also, but here also we can create and add a column over here and custom column or something, and then we can get it into one format. So we can do it over here as well, or what we can do is we can bring it outside and then get it done in that place as well. There are certain things which we cannot do outside Power Query. So first example is this campaign. So what we will do is this campaign, so we will note that okay, it has got data, and it has got data from 1 to 63. So 63 different types of campaigns are there, right? So we can just have that, we can just group them also. So all these things we can group, and what we can do is we can merge them to make it more usable actually. So now here we don't have any other task to be done in terms of the responses and other things. What we will do is we will go to home and say close and apply. So some of the things we have changed over here, and the changes will be applied. True, false, all these things we have done. Now what we will do is just like our Excel. So what we can do is we can bring in a column to just make the date working over here, and we say that my date, and then what we can do is we can use the function date, and let's say we can put it as 2020, which is the year, and the month we can use it from month. So this is the month column, and then what you can do is we bring in the date, which is the day. But the moment we try to do this, we will see where the problem lies. So here it cannot be converted. You can see there is an error. Why this error is because this May cannot be converted. So you can see May, June, July, September, everything is there. And if you see over here, this all data details are there. So which means that directly converting a month into a date will be a challenge. So that will be an issue over here. So what we need to do instead, we need to, maybe we have different techniques of working with this. We can use some DAX functions, which we are going to see in the next module. But right now, to mitigate this particular problem, what we need to do is we need to integrate it with some replace values or something. So what we can do is we can bring in some column which will have the numbers along with the name, and then bring the data over here. So what we will do is we will just leave it like this as of now. So this we have an error, so we will delete this for the time being, and then back to back we are going to do two things. First of all, we will just go to Excel. So these are, so believe me, this is the most important section, the heavy lifting part, what we call it, right, in terms of data. So what we are going to do is we will say something like this: my month and my month number, something like this. So we say Jan and till December, and then what we do is we bring in the numbers over here. Then what we do is we copy this. This is a very simple idea. We copy this, we go here to Power BI, and we actually insert a table by pasting data. So what we do is we paste this data and we call it as, let's say, my months, anything, and we say load. So what we are doing, this was the table which was not existing, so we brought in this particular table over here. And then what we do is we go to this and we see that we have got the month in place. So the month name is here. What we need to do is we have to connect this month name with this my month, and instantly you see that both of them are connected, and you can see there is something called, this is the kind of join that we were talking about, right? So this is one too many join that we have got. Now what we will do is, first of all, let me just save this particular file so that we don't lose this. So this is for part 2. Now what we need to do is we go back to this arena, and we just, instead of May, we want a number. So what we do is we go to a new column, and simply I say that, okay, my num, anything I can just give, and then we need to do a lookup, but lookup is actually given as a function called related. So we say related what? Related number. See, it automatically picks up because it has a connectivity through to that particular column. Actually, we click and we see that my num is now having the numbers. So we have the day and we have the number also. Now what we can do is we can get into a new column, and now we can say my date, anything like this, and there we use the function. So we give that 2019 is the month we know, and then we can use the number, and then we can say my num, and then we have the day. So the day is there. If we press enter, it should pick up the day. So it has picked up the day. The only thing that we need to do is to go to column, and instead of date time, we make it a date, because time we have not worked out with. And you can see immediately it has given me all the day, and it has picked up the date time, the day of the week as well. So this is one type of task. So what we did is we just incorporated a temporary table over here. We are going to do the same activity with the campaign part also. So this is all part of the preparation of data before it goes to the next level, where we will be learning DAX and stuff like this. But we are doing here in this particular module is like preparing and then getting our data in shape first of all. So these are the techniques. These are very, very minute details that we need to keep in mind while working with any kind of business data. So this part is fine. The next thing that we are going to do is we see that there are some campaigns over here. So we have campaigns from 1 and goes till 63, but all of them are not there in place. So after 58 we have 63, 55, then we have 58, like this, but we have till 63, we know this. Now what we do is we say camp ID, and then we say camp group, and then we say camp name, some campaigning name, right? So what we do is we take up this 1, 2 and we go till 63. So we have to go till 63. So make sure that everything is grouped. And then what we do is we group them. So suppose, let's say 1 to 20, we group them in 1. Let's say we say group 1 and we go randomly. Let's say this is 1. Then we say 2. We say it as 2. Then we go for let's say 3. And finally we go for 4. Like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4 we have, and campaign name that we give now. So let's say we call it as we can just call it as, let's say, promo 1, right? And then we can say it as we can say big sale. So this one is let's say promo Insta, something like this. We just name it as some campaign. Then we call it as big sale. So see, what I'm doing over here is I'm just grouping them. So this entire data will now be grouped. So we had 63 campaigns, but I'm not using them, right? So I'm grouping them based on my requirement. Big sale, and then we say let's say offer day, something like this. So I'm just making up the things in front of you right now like this, just to show you how the activities of preparing the data can be taken care of, right? And then what we do is, let's say this is the 4th one, and we say new offer, something like this, right? Or we can call it as new arrival, something like this. And then what we do is, this is just a one-time activity. We copy this and we go to this Power BI and we go to home, and then we add this 63 records over here. See, up to around 100 records we can add it over here directly. If not, then we have to use an Excel file and then get the data over here. So here we can say, we can call it as Camp Master. And now what we say is load. So Camp Master is now loaded over here. Let's see, let's go back to the data and see that, okay, now this one we have, but somehow it should have identified, but it is not able to identify. What we will do is, we know our campaign, so what we will do is we will connect it with campaign data, and immediately we see that it is also connected. So now one data, so what we call it as, let's say, now I will showcase this thing. So now this is called the fact table. This is the fact data that we have got, and these are the dimensions, these are the attributes, these are the supporting data that we have. So now instead of, now what I can do is, instead of going to, if I just say campaign, so I can see it's a list of campaigns that are available over here. So now what I can do is, I can just go to this particular camp master and say the camp name. So I have got the camp name. If I now click on 39, so nothing is happening over here. But when I click on, let's say, offer day, I should see what are the campaigns under offer day. If I go to big sale, I know what are the campaigns along with this. So now you see how the data talks to each other like this. So if you talk about, if you say new arrival, you can see the campaigns over here. But if you click on this campaign, it is not giving you the answer. So that's the activity that we are going to do with this particular data, marketing data. This is a very, very important thing. You understood the parent-child concept, right? So here, actually speaking, I should be bringing this over here. So actually, campaign name, is the master, and campaign ID is actually the child, right? This is how it is working over here. So now, if you click on the parent, it shows you the child data, but if you click on the child, it is not giving the parent like this, right? So it is a very simple, very simplistic work that we have to do. Watch this carefully. So what we will do is, we will go back to the camp master. We are just preparing this. These all things will come when we come to DAX and then do the modeling and stuff like this. So it will come over there, but I'm just giving you an insight, because where the problem lies, you have to fix it then and there itself. So you will find that it shows over here a direction called single, and there you will see that it shows me only one-sided arrow. That's the major problem. So what we need to do over here is, we need to convert this from single to both, and then we simply say OK. As such, nothing has happened, only you see that instead of a single headed arrow, we have a double headed arrow over here. But now see the magic. So see, my courses are full of magic, and my courses are full of information, new information, and then small problems that you might face while working with a business. So this is very important, and I thought to include it into this masterclass, because this is a masterclass. You should be prepared for the next level of work that you are going to achieve, or something like this, right? So now you can see that if you click on new arrival, it was anyway coming. But now let's see the reverse. We click on, let's say, campaign number 6, and I wanted to find out which campaign name it belongs to. So I know that Promo Insta belongs to, 6 number campaign belongs to Promo Insta. I click on this, and I see it belongs to Big Sale. If I remove it, it works fine, absolutely. I click on a random one and it says that offer day. So now you know, but if I click on offer day, I'm able to see this reverse side also. So now you know how this entire system works. How the majorly preparing the data is actually the most important task that we face in any kind of BI or business data analytics solution, including Power BI. Actually, you take up any one of the tools, they all will have similar challenges, and we need to mitigate those challenges inside our tool, right? So this was the demo that we were looking forward to. So we will then move on to part 3. So in a very, very vast way, but let's have a quick look at whatever we have discussed. So in this particular section of module 4, the major focus was to talk about the data types, different data types, and what is the importance of these data types, how null value treatment needs to be done, how do we work with the true false data types, and how do we convert them. Text we will work later, definitely. Date and time, we saw how it works. How do we convert into a date and time format? Actually, even if you have just numbers or text, we can convert it into a date time format. So those are the things that we saw over here. What I will do now is, because this is just for an example that we kept, but still what I will do is, I will keep it as as a mapping file. We will call it as a mapping file over here. So worked files, and we call it as mapping. So we might be using it for other purposes also. So we'll just call it as mapping. We save this file, and we have already saved this file. So this is completely into data structuring and data mapping So we have not gone into the modeling part of it, which we are going to see in module number 5. Very, very important concepts. Every video, every module, every session, you will find it fully packed with knowledge. And I mean, the knowledge, the section or the items which are ready to be used, you can just go ahead and then use that in your, I mean, actual work environment. That's it from the part 2. Let's catch up in part 3 of module 4, where we will deal with some other bigger data sets actually. Thank you.